I welcome members to the sixth meeting in 2014 of the Delegated Powers and Law Reform Committee and ask members to switch off mobile phones, please. Agenda item 1 is a decision on taking business in private. It's proposed that the committee takes item 6 in private. This is to allow for full consideration of the delegated powers provisions contained in the Housing Scotland Bill to inform the drafting of the committee's report on the bill at stage 1. Do the members agree to take item 6 in private, please? We do. Thank you. Whoops. Agenda item 2, instruments subject to negative procedure. The Prisons and Young Offenders Institution Scotland Amendment Rules 2014, SSI 2014-26. A number of points have been raised by our legal advisors in relation to this instrument. No saving or transitional provision is made for the visiting committees for Aberdeen and Peterhead prisons, which are being wound up to allow them to complete their investigations into ongoing complaints and to report for the period the 1st of April 2013 to the 26th of February 2014. Does the committee agree to draw this matter to the attention of the lead committee? Thank you. The committee may also wish to write to the Justice Committee and the Scottish Government, drawing to their attention that similarly no saving or transitional provision is made in the proposed draft order abolishing visiting committees and replacing them with lay prison monitors. The Public Service Reform Prison Visiting Committees Scotland Order 2014. Does the committee agree so to write? Thank you. Requirements of Section 28(2) of the Interpretation and Legislative Reform Scotland Act 2010 have not been complied with. The committee may consider that failure in communication and planning within the Scottish Prison Service is the reason for non-compliance with the 28-day rule. Mindful of these failures, does the committee agree to draw the instrument to the attention of the Parliament under reporting ground J, as it breaches the 28-day rule, and in doing so, report that it finds this failure to be completely unsatisfactory? Thank you. No points have been raised by our legal advisors on the Local Government Pension Scheme Miscellaneous Amendment Scotland Regulations 2014, SSI 2014-23. However, the committee may wish to note that a wholly new set of regulations, the draft Local Government Pension Scheme Scotland Regulations 2014, have been consulted upon. This could be welcomed in respect that the Local Government Pension Scheme Administration Scotland Regulations 2008, SSI 2008-228, and the Local Government Pension Scheme Benefits Membership and Contributions Scotland Regulations 2008, SSI 2008-230 appear to be in need of consolidation. Does the committee agree to welcome this? Thank you. Is the committee otherwise content with this instrument? No points have been raised by our legal advisors on the Non-Domestic Rate Scotland Order 2014, SSI 2014-28, nor on the Non-Domestic Rates Levying Scotland Regulations 2014, SSI 2014-30. Is the committee content with these instruments, please? No points have been raised by our legal advisors on the Protection of Vulnerable Groups Scotland Act 2007, Miscellaneous Provisions Amendment Order 2014, SSI 2014-33. However, the committee may wish to note the late transposition of Directive 2011/93/EU, as the obligations it imposes will not have been enforceable in domestic law between the transposition date and the date of the instrument coming into force. Does the committee agree to note this, please? Is the committee otherwise content with the instrument? We are, thank you. That brings us to agenda item 3, instruments not subject to any parliamentary procedure. No points have been raised by our legal advisors on the Lands Tribunal for Scotland Amendment Fees Regulation Rules, 2014, SSI 2014-24, nor on the Act of Sederant, Messengers at Arms and Sheriff Officers Rules Amendment 2014, SSI 2014-29, nor on the Social Care Self-Directed Support Scotland Act 2013, Commencement, Transitional and Saving Provisions Order 2014, SSI 2014-32, nor on the Prisons Interference with Wireless Telegraphy Act 2012, Commencement Scotland Order 2014, SSI 2014-33. 34. Is the committee content with these instruments? Thank you. I better slow down a minute. Agenda item 4 is Public Bodies Joint Working Scotland Bill. This item of business is consideration of the delegated powers provisions in this bill after stage 2. Members will have noted that the Scottish Government has provided a supplementary delegated powers memorandum and will have seen the briefing paper. Members should also note the correspondence with the Scottish Government advising the Committee of amendments to be lodged at Stage 3 with regard to delegated powers provisions within the Bill. Stage 3 consideration of the Bill is due to take place on Tuesday the 25th of February. The deadline for lodging amendments is 4:30 this Wednesday, the 19th of February. The Committee may therefore wish to agree on its conclusions today. Does the Committee agree to note that the Scottish Government intends to bring forward an amendment at Stage 3 to provide that the powers conferred by Sections 1(4)(c) and 1(4)(d) would be subject to affirmative procedure, and to report that it is content with that proposal? Thank you. Does the Committee also agree to report that it is content with the provisions in the Bill which have been amended at Stage 2 to insert or substantially alter provisions conferring powers to make subordinate legislation? Yeah, thank you very much. Agenda item 5 is the Children and Young People Scotland Bill. As members will recall, the Committee agreed its report on the Children and Young People Scotland Bill as amended at Stage 2 at last week's meeting. The Committee asked the Scottish Government to respond to concerns raised by the Committee in its report. Members have seen the Scottish Government's response. I wonder if members have any comments to make, please. John?
That it may not be fully ECHR compliant, the proposals and the withdrawals from the bill. I know we have reassurance from the government that they intend to consult widely, but I think there is, from my part at any rate, an underlying concern, and given recent history of ECHR compliance, I would just like to make certain that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed at this stage, if it's possible to do so.
Any else wish to comment? Stu?
I think it's pretty clear that the bill itself would appear to be ECHR compliant. The issue arises in relation to powers that could be exercised under the bill. And of course that's probably something that's quite common to bills. It's always possible to draft powers that might step out ECHR. And of course the committee will have the opportunity to consider secondary legislation as it is brought forward.
So do other members have any comments, please? I'm in your hands as to how we might proceed on this.
I would propose that we simply accept it as is, grateful for the changes that have already been made.
Okay, Richard?
Well, the issues of compliance, I think what's been already highlighted by the committee is the importance for ministers to consult on the regulations which will be brought forward. And of course, this committee will have another chance to scrutinise those regulations when they come before the committee. So that process of consultation scrutiny will be important. More generally, convener, I think that the process of our consideration of these legislative proposals brings up the difficulties that there can be given the short timescale between stages 2 and 3 of the process of consideration of bills. And I think it's well worth flagging this issue up against ministers as well.
Thank you. John?
I would endorse that comment about the too short timescales to perhaps fully assess and understand all the implications. And I think this is something that needs to be addressed perhaps in greater depth at a future date.
Indeed. Well, I think that point is well understood. I think we've made it already. Stu?
Just the very brief point, it might be useful if our clerks were to ensure the Standards Committee clerks were aware of this, of specific example,
Indeed.
rather than simply the general case, which I think is probably understood already.
Okay. On balance, is the committee then content to note the Scottish Government's response and await subordinate legislation when it comes through?
Consented.
We are. Thank you very much. Okay, that completes item 5, brings us to item 6, which will be taken in private. So thank you very much.